What's up, people of YouTube land? This is Terminator Juice, and in this video I'm going to talk about my hands-on impression with the PlayStation 4 demo at Best Buy, and just give my thoughts on the few games I tried, the demo selection of games, and just the overall video game section at Best Buy. I mean, I hadn't been there in a while, and it definitely did some remodeling, and so yeah, I want to talk about that. So before I get into that, for all my new subscribers, thank you guys for subscribing. I know I talk a lot about Nintendo in most of my videos, but I am a multi-console owner, and if you haven't seen my first few videos, which I made a while ago, I own a 360, PS3, Wii U, 3DS, and a gaming PC. I played the 360 the most last generation mainly because of Call of Duty, and the PlayStation 3 is probably my least favorite home console of all time. Just didn't care for it. I bought it for Metal Gear Solid and MotorStorm, and played The Last of Us and some great games on it, but just a very boring. The menu layout is just clusterfucked, and it's just stupid. No character to it. Just very boring, straightforward, no nonsense. Just didn't care for the thing. Other than a few good games. The controller wasn't my favorite either. So with that in mind, I'll give you my PS4 impressions. First thing, the controller. A huge improvement over the PS3. Just in every single way. It's a little bit wider. It feels a little better in the hands. The control sticks have more resistance. They're smaller. They're not as close together. Triggers felt great. The D-pad felt amazing. The touch pad was in a good location, and as long as the battery life ain't crap, it seemed like a very good controller. Didn't get a ton of time with it, and it was tethered, so I can't comment on the weight or anything, but it felt very comfortable, and it's definitely a nice controller. I'm glad to see that they made that improvement and didn't just give us the same bullshit controller from the PlayStation 1 again. So that's a big plus. But the demo itself, it had a crap selection of games. Knack, FIFA 14 were like the top two that I noticed. Tried them. I was standing pretty close to the screen because the Best Buy had they had it in the middle of the aisle, so right behind me was the end of one of the rows that have games in them. So I was about 3-4 feet from the screen, but even so, FIFA 14 didn't look. I mean, honestly, I wasn't seeing them side by side, but I couldn't tell the difference in a PS3 version of the game. So, and it's an EA Sports game. I mean, I'm not a big fan of those anyway. So, Knack didn't look any better. Other than a decent art style and stuff, but again, not a great game. The reviews have been bad, and just not a good showcase for the system, especially when the PlayStation's biggest selling point has always been its performance, its power, its graphical capability, and you have a demo that doesn't show that. So that's bad on Sony's part. You need better looking games for one thing. There wasn't any PlayStation 4s on the floor. I didn't ask if they had any. I don't know if they're sold out like everyone was predicting. But that demo would not. If I was on the fence, that demo would have pushed me away. I wouldn't have made the purchase based on that demo. I know it's just a demo, but they need to put a better foot forward. They need to get Killzone, something impressive visually in there to sell the system, and maybe they don't need to. Maybe the system's selling itself, but I would think in the future they need to get better games in there. So yeah, that's my impression of the console itself. I mean, it's a little bit smaller than I thought, but it's not like just like with the Wii U, it's not like you look at your consoles very often unless you have them in some LED lit up case or something. It doesn't really matter. So the Xbox One, on the flip side, screens were like back to back, and the Xbox One didn't have a controller there, just had a sizzle reel of some of the upcoming games, and if those were like, if that was a 1080p video showing what the games were going to look like, those didn't look that impressive. Other than Dying Light, I mean, Titanfall looked okay, but I'm just not impressed. I mean, when your biggest selling point's graphics, they needed to really bring some visual fidelity. And I know it's just launch games and all that, but it's just my first impressions. Did not get any sense of excitement or any awe or anything like I did the first time I touched and held the Wii U's gamepad. Like, I just couldn't believe how great that screen looked, and the touch screen, how responsive it was, and it was a great experience. It made me buy the system. The demo of the Wii U made me buy the system. So, just in comparison, the PS4 did not do that for me. Even if they had one sitting right there, I got the money, I wouldn't have bought it. There's no games I need that I can't have on my PC, my PS3, or my Wii U. So yeah, that's the impressions of that. And just Best Buy in general, I hadn't been to my Best Buy in a while. It's been a couple months, and we don't have the biggest one. I mean, my town's not that huge, but we do have a Best Buy. The tablet and cell phone section pretty much tripled, and the gaming and music and movie section pretty much was cut in half. So it was just pathetic to see these just a couple rows of games and not many accessories. They had Wii U's stacked up in front of the Xbox One, PS4 demo stations. They had about 8 maybe of the new Super Mario Brothers U bundles, and about 5 or 6 of the Wind Waker bundles. But they weren't by the actual Wii U games. They just had them out in the aisle with the $2.99 price. And the Wii U section was pretty small, but it had more games than I was expecting. They had Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. First time I've ever seen that in a store, and they only had one copy. They had Rayman Legends. So, like, if you saw my last video, buy one, get one for $40. That would be pretty enticing to people. Buy 3, get them for $130. Something. Get those games flying off the shelves. But apparently they don't think they need their games to be on the shelves to sell for some reason. But, I mean, Arkham Origins was there. Wind Waker, obviously. I didn't see Wonderful 101 at the Best Buy. I did see one at a local supermarket that we have in the Midwest called Myers. So it's kind of weird. You see some games in some places and others in the other stores, so it's kind of sporadic. But yeah, so the gaming section in general at Best Buy was just reduced in half. It was pathetic. I don't know if they just figured gaming's not as popular, if they're just giving up to GameStop and Amazon. I'm not sure, but definitely a small percentage of the store are dedicated to gaming, which is sad. I remember the days of just having rows and rows and rows of Xbox games and PlayStation games and Nintendo games, and it's just not like that anymore. It's just a sign of things are changing, and you know, what do? Go to GameStop, I guess, and deal with some of the dickheads there. So yeah, that's just my impressions. Like I said, just early impressions. I thought their demo needs different games. I would have chosen something with more visual flair to show off. They didn't, and you know, maybe it won't hurt them in the short term, but in the long term, I'd like to see them get a better demo, because I would like to see Killzone running in 1080p, 30 frames a second on a nice Sony TV. You know, I would like to see what that's going to look like. So, you know, maybe someday down the road, I got money burning a hole in my pocket, they got a nice demo showing me something I got to have, you know, I'd pick it up. But I'm thinking, unless some awesome game comes out by this time next year, honestly, I'm going to try to hold out until a price drop, maybe $300. That would be awesome. And yeah, so 2015 probably be the time I get a PS4. Xbox One be even further off than that, unless they drop the price, took the Kinect out or something. But anyway, it's a little off topic, but yeah, that's my impressions, and If you guys went to the Best Buy and played it, what did you think? If you bought a PS4, what's your impression? I know it's better when you get it in your house and you can sit down and you have it on your TV and you get the settings set right, and it can look a lot better. But yeah, you guys leave me some comments, let me know, and we'll see you on the next video.